Basically, I'm gonna change. Basically what I'm gonna do is, what I was gonna continue from the previous video, I'm just gonna put it this way. I am not gonna do it, any of it. You guys are gonna do it if you wanna do it. If you don't wanna do it, you can have, I really don't care, you can have, and Poland, and Czech Republic, and Slovakia, and Croatia, you can, and Romania, and all this, Moldova, you can have all this collapse totally, as far as I'm concerned. I really do not care. My message to the people is, you had more than enough time to support me. Polish government, who was involved in this thing, not up to the throat, but like this, overboard, totally, knew all about it. And basically what the Polish traitors want to do, I'm going to explain you exactly what they want to do. What they would like to do is, after Ukraine is going to fall down, I remember everything about MKULTRA, how they want to do it. What they want to do is, they want to use somebody as an option, as a countermeasure on how, but this is what it is, but this happened and this and that, but in the end, that's what I was told on MKULTRA. You're going to succeed, but in the end you're going to have to give away. In other words, what's going to happen is, they're going to betray. Again, they're going to betray. And what they're going to do is, they're going to sell one more time their option to the enemy, basically. So that will be one more sale of me to the Russians, to the Serbs, to Americans, to the Germans, and so on what the whole thing is going to collapse. So I am not going to get into it, because once you start to believe to the idiot, and in the context of the word idiot, basically is how I see not only the politicians, but I see literally Ukrainian and Polish people. Seeing what I see today in Ukraine, in Poland, seeing myself here totally abandoned, and having some political options pushed forward in the face of the people, by the people, and giving exactly zero credibility to me, who have witnessed and have told you in advance what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, who have supported this option, Ukrainian, Polish option, for so many years until year 2016. This is just, would be totally unacceptable, that you would go and you would believe in an option that does not support itself. As you see, you can see on the videos, you can see broken military, Ukrainian military on the front lines, without weapons, without anything, and at the same time a traitor, Kremlin traitor, laughing in Kiev, Poroshenko, president. I mean, where do you defend your country? Do you defend one on a front line, or what is priority? To stand on a front line and have a traitor in a presidential seat? Or is your priority to remove the traitor from the presidential seat and then go on a front line? Ladies and gentlemen, if you start to believe, if I would start to believe in this kind of alternatives, in this kind of ways, I do become idiot myself. So please excuse me. In respect to the Buckingham Palace, I'm going to say like this to you. And then I will also give you a few gestures on what you should do, perhaps you should do, I really don't care what you will, maybe to avoid another Holodmor, maybe to avoid another slaughtering of cutting forest or something like this. It's going to be really bad. And it's not going to be bad only for Poles in Poland, Ukrainians in Ukraine, but also for Poles in United Kingdom, Great Britain, United States of America, Chicago area and all that. It's going to be bad, folks. As far as the Great Britain, I'm just going to put it this way. Prince Harry, let's just say Prince Charles, on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, have sent Prince Charles from age 16, 18 to the Russia for over a decade, maybe even decade and a half, with military arsenal plans, with the architecture of the British military, with entire technological, with all the military technology, with absolutely everything, so he would hand one to the Russians. Another such individual was George W. Bush. By the way, regarding the Harry's military service, he did not serve not even 25% of the time in the military, in the British military. He was in there, portrayed as he was inside. 75% of the time, however, this guy did not attend the British military, but was dealing in other parts of the world with Russian, with Eastern Europe, in respect to global neo-Nazi plan, in respect to new world order, if you like. I'm just going to put it this way, it's just going to go straight. Going for anyone, Paul, or Ukrainian, because this is what the plan is. This is what the plan is. The Russian, British, German, Berlin, American plan is to Holocaust Ukrainian Polish people with unemployment, with using domestic politicians to push local population into joblessness, force them to immigrate to the Britain, United States, and so on, so they can release the pressure, domestic pressure during the crisis, which could otherwise lead to explosion and removal of domestic traitors, politicians. They're just used as a buffer zone on what again is going to happen. They're going to use that as a countermeasure in the US, across the Europe, Britain, and so on, to again impose unemployment on people, all kinds of stuff, MKULTRA, and have the population run back to the Eastern Europe, and so on and so forth. Till everything equalizes, in the process is going to be millions of people murdered, slaughtered with unemployment, homeless on the streets, suicides, psychiatry, or killed in some other forms. This is what Buckingham Palace is, folks. So if you think about immigrating somewhere, doing something about this, do not, because you are in greater danger overseas, in other countries, than you are in your own country. In your own country, you're at least going to die as someone. At least you're going to be a number who's going to stand up against the enemy face to face. In other countries, nobody, you will not even count as the number, but you will also die. Caritas, Red Cross, is what British Buckingham Palace counts on, basically to be seen as not ultimate evil in this world, because they're the one they have caused the genocide in Eastern Europe. It is the Buckingham Palace, it is the Britain, it is British that have not slaughtered, mass slaughter only Eastern Europeans after World War II. Remember how many people they have sent into the hands of the USSR, Yugoslavia, that were murdered? Remember that stuff? But they're gonna again, what's gonna happen? They will again repeat the whole thing, the whole scenario. And according to the Buckingham Palace, rather for the people than to die on the streets from the hunger, they're gonna take the packages from the Red Cross, from the Caritas. I'm just gonna say, for sarcastic purposes, they're gonna be dropped from the planes. No, they're not going to be dropped from the planes. It's going to be brought to Ukraine. I don't know, with a rail or whatever it's going to be, folks. But the question here is, should you really be grateful to the Buckingham Palace, who have taken your homes, who have taken your country away? Should you be grateful to this scum for the Caritas and for the Red Cross packages? This is the question for Polish people, for Ukrainian people to ask themselves. Basically, this is what Buckingham Palace have given to the Russia, to the Russians, United States of America, John McCain, George Bush. See this? This is going to run at you. In your houses, in your homes, this is what's going to get you on unemployment in your countries. This is what's going to get you out of your countries also, not only on unemployment. This is what Prince Harry did. This is what Prince Charles did. This is what Her Majesty have given to the Russia, to the Putin, to the Kremlin. And this is basically what you will get. This is also what God Save the Queen is going to get you. If you're going to praise the Queen, you're going to get some of these cans here. You're going to get some of this food for crying out, God bless, God save Her Majesty the Queen, the Buckingham Palace. See this here? You're going to be thrown out of your countries like I was by these very same people. Your lives are going to be ruined, turned into the bits, into nothing. And in return, you're going to get these little cans here. These are the last days that Poland still has a chance to defend its borders in Ukraine. But you're not going to do it, you're going to fail, then you're going to be you're going to be looking again for somebody, something, some kind of excuse for what have happened, trying to sell that someone, somebody, again, so you can again, after the whole thing is going to buffer, somehow equalize, normalize if you want, after so many people are going to be murdered basically. You're going to repeat the same thing. So that's why I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get involved in it. And I'm going to, rather than this, and it's like I said, it's not only because of the politicians. It's because of the people. Foremost, it's because of the people. You knew it. You saw me. I talked to you about it all this time. Well, basically the way I see it is, look at this. Individual was fined for 800 pounds. I'm talking about this individual here and his dog, who learned to salute Hitler or whatever, if you like. Well, if you had the money to collect, and you did, over 200,000 pounds you did, about 200,000 pounds you did, for the trick like this, for the troll like this, basically. You had the money for this troll here. You collected over 200,000 pounds for him. Now, if you had the money for the trolls like this, and you didn't have the money to support the real option, the freedom option for yourself, you invested exactly 0 cents in me all this time. Well, in that case, the only thing that I suggest you to do is basically to continue to collect the money for the Kremlin. I have no other words for you. You're going to get exactly what you have invested in. As much as you have invested in is exactly what you will get back, in my case. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to take care of myself and you're going to be taking care of yourself. The last thing I need is to believe in something that does not exist. Because if I would, I would become crazy myself. I'm going to use Ukraine, Poland, Eastern Europe to press charges against the Buckingham Palace, genocide charges against the Buckingham Palace, Berlin, Moscow, United States of America, and other governments. But other than that, folks, I have no idea how you're going to do it, what you're going to do it. I already have told you in advance what they're going to do it. So this is entirely up to you, what you're going to, how you're going to. Borders are not defended on a front line if you have a traitor as a president in your country. That's all the hell I want to say, right? That's why Russians have new American, British, German military equipment, and Ukrainians have 4 years old, outdated Kalashnikovs, garbage basically has spent $50 million on defense, which is obviously traitor Poroshenko is worth $2 billion. You could take that money away from him and buy yourself a guns, do the right thing, but you didn't want, and so you made a choice that you want to be occupied. You want another Holodmor. You want to be murdered in Ukraine. So, you know, we're not going to be playing any stuff like this. In case you do want to change things, however, if you do want to change them, in case you do want to change them, well, in that case, you're going to have to support Russians and Serbs. Serbs are killing, by the way, here in Slovenia. Vojislav Seselj, Aleksandar Vucic were in this very room. 2002, 2003, Vojislav Seselj was here. Croats were horrified. Today, Vojislav Seselj is going around in Serbia and is, well, what you see here, this is obviously Vojislav Seselj. Here you can see Aleksandar Vucic. These are two criminals, two individuals that were involved in ethnic cleansing, in a mass genocide against the Croats. Today Vucic is a president of Serbia, and you can see the Russian individual that was involved in MKULTRA and abductions and was used by the Russian side to negotiate on behalf of Russia new neo-Nazi imperial takeover plan, global plan, new world order basically. He negotiated with British, with Americans and others, and he also, in respect to this thing here, he told me that my case actually will be used to release Vojislav Seselj even from the jail, even from the prison. This case, make no mistake, was used exactly for these purposes. As I was suggested that he was released because of me, that it did work, and that should be used as a plus for me, that that's going to be like a good deed that I did. They're going to count this when they will employ Serbian army with some kind of idea like I'm going to be the one used for something. Of course, I never would accept anything from these people. And this is yet another individual from Moscow that was also involved in my case, together with Vojislav Seselj, whom you can see right here. Vucic was involved against me with a Muja psychiatrist, Muja, Serbian chetnik psychiatrist that is employed by university in Ljubljana, and another female psychiatrist, also Serbian chetnik, female psychiatrist, whose name is Tatjana Prokšelj. All the way to year 2005, 2006, when Vucic demonstrated some extremely violent scenarios against me. For those that do not know this individual here is Aleksandar Vucic. This is now president in Serbia. This is a radical extremist, basically Serbian Ustasha is what this is. Okay, people don't know much about chetniks, but chetniks were exactly the same as Ustashas were in Croatia, chetniks were in Serbia. And these chetniks today are mass killing people in the territory of ex-Yugoslavia. Whether it is Croatia or Slovenia, they employ psychiatrists, they employ police, they employ local governments, politicians, judicial system is what they also have in their hands, and they use this for the mass slaughter of the native population in these two countries. Basically, loudly suggestion, basically going publicly, gesturing Serbs to just throw the Croats out, to repeat basically slaughter of the Croats in what they have done already in Vukovar, in Bosnia, in Croatia and stuff like this, when they murdered I don't know how many Croats and Bosnians and so on, and Kosovo people, Albanians and so on. This is a brand new news that you see here. I mean, this is what's happening today. This have happened, I think, yesterday. Seselj, you see, Seselj. He was the one who sent these people. He was the one who wanted to go to this village. This is a Croatian village in Serbia. And, you know, in sight today, in 2018, right now, here, May 8, 2018, to attack Croatian people, to attack them, if only possible, to mass slaughter them, basically, like Ustašas did slaughter Serbs. That's how chetniks have murdered Croats. And chetniks today are alive. They are right here. You're gonna see how the people now are treated in Croatia by the Serbs, by Vucic, by Seselj, by chetniks. This is what Kremlin did. This is what Kremlin does. This is what Belgrade and Kremlin are doing in Slovenia to us, to Croats in Croatia. Look, physically attacked like this. Basically a herd of Serbs attacking few Croats like this, physically, intimidating them, attacking them. This is what the Eastern Europe, ladies and gentlemen, is turning into thanks to the Buckingham Palace. That's what we get to see in mainstream media, is about their marriages, about their grandchildren and stuff like this, and this is basically what we get. So it's time to thank Prince Charles, Harry, Her Majesty and so on for what you see here is going to grow into much bigger ordeal. Serbs claim genocide on Kosovo, and this is what they do in Serbia to Croats. Have told me that my case in which international governments became implicated, my own case helped to take Vojislav Seselj out of the prison, out of the jail, from Hague. So in other words, Russians have used my case as an ultimatum, as a blackmailed, extorted. It's a lie. It's not really the truth, because the idea here is a global neo-Nazi plan. You remember? So when it's a global neo-Nazi plan, takeover, imperial takeover of the world, you don't need to blackball, you don't need to do any of that stuff. All you gotta do is, because you need extremists like Seselj, all you need to do is you need to employ him instead. Okay? They gestured like they have used this case. They did because this is the case that is used to get their imperial neo-Nazi plan forwards. So all they needed to do is they needed to remind them of their agreement. And Carla Del Ponte, I think she's Dutch or whatever, I'm not really sure, a bunch of these people in Hague and in this European Court for Human Rights, they're Dutch. These people have occupiers in South Africa. There is a colony over there still that these people want to get back. Basically what they want to do is they want to colonize Africa. So they wouldn't want nothing more than to employ Russians and Serbs and through them other Eastern Europeans into fascism, into Nazism. So somebody like Vojislav Seselj, actually, you don't have to do much at all, to get him out in this kind of position, because this is what this is all about. So if you want, I don't know, the politicians, whatever, if you really want to change things, at this stage you no longer will be able to anyways, because British economy, German economy, French economy, Italian economy, imagine, American economy, they're gonna give a boost to the Putin. They need Putin if they want to colonize Africa, if they want to colonize Mid East, if they want to colonize South America, take over Mexico, take over all these countries. They need Vladimir Putin. So what's going to happen? Russia is going to get economical packages, more technology, more economical packages, and that basically means that the voice of the Russian people that are also going to be wiped out from the picture. Guess all this stuff comes with a price, folks. And those people that are a little bit less white, yeah, it was about the Slavic people. Some are a little bit more Slavic than others. This is how the Russians do it, and Serbs within the Slavic world. But within the white world, some are a little whiter than others. So those that are a little less whiter, they need to be white outer. And so it's going to be a lot of Russian people that are going to be white outer. It's going to be a lot of Russian people that are going to be white outer because of opposition, because they stand up against the Tsar, because they stand up against, let's just say they stand up for the human dignity, for the basic values of humanity. They don't want to be treated as slaves. They don't want to be treated as animals. They don't want to be treated, in other words, like they have treated me. So all this, folks, if you want to do maybe something, which, like I said, probably is too late, what you want to do is you want to give these people a voice. So this voice, their voice, like my voice, that is totally shut down, so their voice can be heard by their people in the Russia. So their people in the Russia and in Serbia, where there are many good people, can be heard. So these people in Serbia and in Russia can hear, actually understand what's going on, because they can relate to their own people way better than what they can relate to you or me or someone else. You get this? So what you want to do, instead of giving them the type of protection that these people get in United States of America, where George Bush is, McCain, Donald Trump, or in Britain, Buckingham Palace, you know, that's where basically Russian spies, KGB, are given a special statuses, refugee statuses even. So they can come to the US, they can come to Britain and Germany and other countries and stalk not only people that descend with Russian climate, but just the ordinary people like myself, like I was, and kill them, learn all about them and destroy them basically. So what you want to do is, you don't want to give them this kind of protection, but you actually want to give them voice by the real protection. By granting them real protection, by giving them the right to exist, by granting them employment, by guaranteeing them that no KGB apparatchiks or local domestic traitors, politicians are going to go after them. The system is going to prosecute them in Poland, Czech, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, Romania, and so on, because of their voicing opinion, concern for what is happening in Russia and Serbia and so on and so forth. You get it? This is how you might actually succeed, if you will, if these people actually raise enough concern in Russia, in Serbia, in their own countries, in other words, about what's happening. You might actually get your democracy back in Poland, in Ukraine, in other Eastern European countries. Americans are not going to give you one. Americans are in our countries on behalf of Russia. Russians go to the east, they go to the west, they go to US, they go to Britain and so on, and Americans and British come here to do their job, to spy literally for the Russia, to see what we are doing, getting in our military facilities, know what we have, what we don't have, watch our technology, be on a market, spy. You're gonna go to American, and they are seen as allies. It's an ally. It's an ally. It's a British. It's an ally. This and that. No, it's not the ally. It's a lie. Not the ally. It's a spy. Keep please in mind that Americans and British that come in our countries, whether it's Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, whatever it is, Ukraine, are the people that are pre-approved by the KGB. You get this? There are only certain people that are allowed to come here. Not the ordinary people, not the people that you think would be officials that are concerned for you, that are here to help you out. No, they're not. They're here to see where your positions are on the front line, what kind of weapons the military has, what your capability, your defense capabilities are, and report all this stuff straight to the Kremlin. So what you want to do is you want to kick them out, you want to clean them out, and what you want to do is you want to establish a real situation, ability for these people who dissent with this apparatchiks in Kremlin to have the right to exist, to have real possibilities in your own environment. These are maybe how things can work out. So that's all I wanted to say about this stuff. It's unbelievable. It's shocking to see that Slovenian President Borut Pahor was in bed with the Vojislav Seselj, with the chetniks. By the way, Tatiana Prokšelj has the same last name as a Vojislav Seselj. Prokšelj, Seselj, both are Serbs. And of course Zoran Mudra also is a Serb. Chetniks in Slovenia, to mass slaughter through psychiatry, folks. Is there anything else to say? Both of these psychiatrists involved against me. Both of these psychiatrists gave training here and to the neighbor and designed these programs and so on. That much about the Miroslav Berger. That much about these people here. Chetniks, Gestapo, SS in red uniforms. That's all there is to it. That's why I call for exclusion of Slovenia from European Union, exclusion of Slovenia from United Nations. Throw them out. Impose economical sanctions on these countries. Do something about it if you care. And if you don't care, then continue with your politic and lie and tell people how there is, how there is not. Send the Caritas and Red Cross to those people whom homes you have burned. Almost in the same fashion like you did in Syria, in Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on. I'm going to give a note to the Israel in respect to Netanyahu. This was a totally disgraceful act on behalf of Israel against me personally. This is what his knees was used for, basically to just confuse on issues. And it clearly came out that he went in bed with the chetniks. And that's a very, very bad thing. I'm going to tell you something. Chetniks were the one that did not only slaughter the throats of the Croat people, but they also slaughtered the throats of Jews. Chetnik is the same as Ustasha, as Ustashas were in Croatia. So I just want you to know what kind of presidents that you have over there in Israel, whom you have actually giving a support, what kind of support, what you have done in this case in particular. And this is not against Jews, this is not against Serbs, this is not against Russians. Obviously is not. Just a little note to the Jews. I would love you to become part of this Slavic world. I would love you to get involved more in it, not less in it, more in it. But the thing, however, is when you get involved in something, you have to understand what is it you are getting involved in it. And you also should not expect that the victim, when you conduct, these are acts of genocide. When you do the stuff like this, these are acts of genocide. The same like Ustashas have done to you or would have done to you, and Chetniks, whom you have supported in this case, have done to you. The same thing you have basically done to me. So when you get involved in this kind of stuff, you have to know what you get involved in it. You have to study a little bit. You have to understand the background and then go about it. Do not expect the victim to just go and forgive and forget. I do not forgive and forget, and I never will, as long as I live.
I got this one, I got this one, I got this one, which was ordered on March 21st. I didn't get this one. And so these are the jokes. These are the the stuff that it's totally pre-selected. I should say approved or disapproved by my neighbor. What will you get and what will you not get? I mean, is this serves like some kind of mailing services? I mean, is this like a state mailing services? Is this like worse than, I don't even know what possibly can be worse. I'm afraid to compare with this. I'm afraid to compare. I'm afraid. That's why I call on the European Union, and it's why I call on United Nations to throw Republic of Slovenia, which is nothing more than a Kremlin state, out of United Nations and out of the European Union. Country like this does not have a place in unions, nations like this. There is no place for a country like this. This is authoritarian, dictatorship, criminal state is what it is. Totally subjected to the Kremlin politic. It's probably even worse here than what it is in the Kremlin, because whatever Kremlin does here, stays here. Nobody even points at the Kremlin. I'm the first person who did so, and did very successfully so. This is the stuff that it's got to stop. Ultimatum has got to be given to Slovenia, or throw one out of United Nations and European Union. There's no place for a criminal states like this. I did not get my Belarus flag yet. I got my Polish. I even got this here, the poster from the world, but the stuff that I have mentioned, I never got one. I got all this stuff, I got all these flags, I got all this stuff. I didn't get Israel yet, but I hope soon I will. I ordered this one today, that's about it. So now let's go and see the reality, so you're not going to say that, I'm just making these things up. If I give you the real examples of how the eBay does business, let's say, let's put it this way. There was another detector like this, exactly the same kind as this one here, that I have purchased on the 20. Here is the March 21st. That one, however, was purchased on the March 20. It should be listed, it was listed right underneath. And it was, until yesterday when I requested the return for the item, because one does not work properly. I believe it does not work properly. And so this one here is from TomTop. You can see right here. And once you request the item, what happens is one disappears from the eBay. But I have situation, I didn't demonstrate it or not, like this one here, let's say. This item I have also purchased and paid for. You see? Big deal for you 2014. And what happened was, I was so demoralized that I would not even request from the people. I would not even request anymore from the people if the items would not come, because it was the time that I felt that it doesn't make any more, if I'm gonna keep requesting the stuff from the people that they have nothing to do with. If those items come or those items come broken, it's just not fair from my side, because I'm the one ordering them. Even that the neighbor destroys them. Even that these things are happening like that. Okay? So you know what happened? This individual contacted me somehow, and he said, he told me, he said, look, would you like me to, did you get the item, And then he said, I said, sir, I didn't get one yet. The item was already overdue. It should come. And he said, you know what? Why don't we, you see? He said, why don't you just keep the money? And once you receive the item, and then you give us the money. This is how honest these sellers from China really are. I have never received yet the item. But this item that I'm just giving you an example. Seller have removed the payment. He refunded the payment, look at this, to the PayPal account. He really did. This is how it is. But under my eBay account, it's listed as an unpaid item. And there were a variety of items that I have canceled, and what eBay would do is they would just advertise them. Like this to me, like that I have to pay them. Other items are even listed as items that I have purchased, which I didn't, and so on and so forth. And basically the items that I did purchase and I have requested the money back, just as the item that I happened to the one yesterday, just simply disappears from the summary, like one did not even exist. Very difficult situation to track like this. I don't know if other people have same with eBay, but I can tell you there were several items here, at least 6 cameras I have not received, which I have paid for. They got the money, and I have no idea how it was done to the PayPal that those things will not even show up on the statements. Just like this, I mean.
A conflict with eBay were numerous, and there's yet a lot of stuff I gotta put it on the internet. This here, what you see here, was maybe one of the craziest also. There were many, many like this on the same level. But that was an item that, yeah, I purchased basically this item. Then was the totally different item that was sent. I bought one from the Britain. I paid a little more just to get one as quick as possible, fast as possible, so I can organize my stuff because neighbor was doing a mess to me and so on. And so what they would do is they would send me the wrong item, and then the next thing what they would do is they would demand me to pay for the postage. Basically eBay did, that is totally crazy. They demanded from me, yeah, who have received the wrong item, totally wrong item, and eBay acknowledged that I did receive the wrong item. However, eBay demanded from me that I paid for the shipping to the seller and stuff like that. Lots of controversial stuff with the eBay that I have to post online, but these are just things that if I would be posting all along this stuff as they have demanded from me, as I already have explained, I don't think anybody would be even watching my stuff. I wouldn't get too far because that was the idea. The idea was to clog me with issues like this, you know, so some people could just go smoothly on with their program, with their political agenda. No, pretty much that was it. Alright, how much you guys remember previously when I mentioned that one of the telephones, and I mentioned MKULTRA on how I was told even what they're gonna break, even the telephones, Android and stuff like this. I actually can say this as a positive, and I have to say this. I have to make this kind of claim because, well, first of all, I can. Okay, otherwise, like I previously suggested, I wouldn't. But I have to make this kind of claim because I'm gonna talk a lot about brutality, violence. About my neighbor here, Miroslav Berger, about the president of Slovenia, Borut Pahor, about my niece's husband, Mitja Weber. This is the stuff that I have to talk a lot about. I have not, lots of stuff I did talk about, but still like a lot of stuff I have not talked about. It's a lot I have not talked about, the lies, how they try to manipulate with lies. That I would not even complain against them. We're gonna save that for some other video. But in respect to previously mentioned Android, basically Android that I have claimed, actually made a statement on how Androids had a problem with electronic image stabilization, and this is what I was told they're gonna do under MKUltra. It's true. I'm not lying to you. This one here, this one was free of charge. Import taxes only were charged. Why have they done this? They have done this, and in a little bit I'm going to point you out what they have done with the watches. It was the same kind of situation. Mitja Weber is a very, very violent thug. By the way, he destroyed all my computers in the US. I would get the new computers, and the new computers would be destroyed, trashed. Even suggested me that the monitor which I have here with me, I don't know if this is true or not, that he changed some parts inside, stuff like this. By the way, dreamed about a lot in this case was like listed, I believe, within the government agencies under total lies, as it is going for some kind of scientific experiment and stuff like this, and how they can, I was told all kinds of stuff on what happened if they do to the normal man, if they deprive normal man of the normal life of the family and stuff like this. I was told by these people that I'm completely normal man, but I'm going to be rated as insane, and I'm going to be used as such to prove the case for other people that psychiatry is violent and it's not real and stuff like this. Other people have suggested me, there was all kinds of stuff I was suggested, but never mind. Let's go back to this stuff here. This is another telephone. this telephone I have ordered because this one was not according to my expectations. And now we go to expectations and we go to previously mentioned issues of Mitja Weber and other people. Mitja Weber is a violent thug who suggested that he can actually change my taste for the items based on the cost, on the price. And definitely when you don't have the money, you are trying to save every dime, and the idiots go and they destroy absolutely everything to you. Even the telephone is destroyed before you get one in hands, like this one was. Like, let's say also my mother telephone was, because I don't know, maybe they thought that phone is actually for me. Just brand new things before you get them in the hands already whacked. I mean, like this. And have suggested me under MKULTRA that he can actually, because I wouldn't have the money, that he can actually use this to prove that there is a possibility that individual can settle for a lower standard, if you like. That's how I see it. If you reduce him certain costs. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I did purchase at least 6, probably 7, maybe 8 watches. That out of 7, 8 watches, there are 6, 7 that are destroyed. He destroyed me. 6, 7 watches. And basically out of this 6, 7 watches, there's one watch actually that I didn't like. And they have rated the watch that I didn't like. What kind of watch would it be that I would not like? And you were talking about the same watch, just different colors. And the only watch that these people would not destroy me basically would be the watch that I didn't like. Basically the same, identical like other watches, it's just that I don't like. So all other watches are eliminated, destroyed, except the watch I don't like. And so what he stated to me, which is really, it's totally insane, would be that they would actually change, they could accomplish a change of my taste and by doing this kind of stuff to me. And so the next telephone, this one here, this one, yeah, this is what President Borut Pahor told me. If you are going to request another telephone because of what's going to be done on this one, electronic image stabilization is not such a big issue. A lot of people would just go and be happy with this thing, but I was not. I wanted the telephone like the one you buy in the store, like a new telephone basically. So I went ahead and I bought another one. These are a low-end, cheapest telephones you can buy. 50 euros basically, 50 bucks each, something like this. And so I said, I'm not buying anything expensive. At least when I'm buying something cheap, at least let me get this. And so because I did go and I did purchase another one, because otherwise this would really sound like a schizophrenia, paranoia. I got this one here completely tax-free, just as I was promised I would get one under MKULTRA. You know what is to get the telephone from China tax-free, without any taxes, without any dues? You don't get one in Europe. Whatever gets to the Europe like this, telephone, computer, and electronic like this, is charged. I didn't pay a dime because of the stuff that I have just mentioned. It's true. It's totally true. They were playing with me, with the sanity, with stuff that is like brutally violent. In a little bit, I'm going to show you what I have done to my watches and so on. I just wanted to explain. I just want to clarify that issue before when I said, because otherwise, I could really be maybe rated even as an insane. Even my testimony is totally, I'm not going to say credible, but with the proofs. But, when it comes to these thugs in Slovenia, they just, you can give them a proof and they'll stay rated that you are insane. And it doesn't matter because you don't have the word. You don't have the words, absolutely none in psychiatric hospital. And I don't know, maybe even less on the court. On the court you're told that you just got to keep your mouth shut. You don't have the right to say anything. These are the court sessions in Slovenia. That's why I said, please Throw Slovenia out of United Nations and out of European Union, please. Ladies and gentlemen, when I came here in year 2006 from the US, when I returned to Slovenia, and I brought the car with me, Mazda Protege. I bought brand new one in Miami. The car had about 20,000 miles, if it did have. It's about 30,000 kilometers. It's a pretty decent vehicle. And when I came here, the only thing that have happened, I was received like the biggest enemy, you know, in a most unfriendly, hateful way that an individual can possibly be received back at what otherwise should be his home. My mama called me American spy on many occasions. My niece's husband called me American spy, and they all of them have expressed disgust for my American car, Mazda. It was like a garbage to them. It was no good. It was foremost not worth anything. The next thing you see, they changed the tires on my car. They poured the road where I used to go fish with the oil, and I almost was killed. I am asking United Nations and European Union, please throw Republic of Slovenia, throw the Kremlin satellite, throw it out of your membership, please. For the sake of the people in Slovenia, this is not a civilized country. If you see on my news site, stuff that happens here doesn't happen anywhere in the civilized world, and as such, this country should not have a place among the civilized nations. I absolutely am not making any of this up. What you see here already was written sometimes in 2009. You can scroll down and it's right here. Basically 2 weeks after I had complained to European courts for human rights about what's happening here in Slovenia with me, I was called a traitor on the first job interview that followed by Maticevic, Marian Maticevic. That's some kind of a company here, Matisse Electroaggregati, something like this, not too far from here. On what exactly what you see here followed assassination attempt. Me and my car were worth nothing. I was a spy and my car basically was worth totally nothing. Slovenian government basically believed that I'm gonna live here in Slovenia like a tourist. Was even forbidden from coming to search for employment at a local state agency for employment. No any kind of financial assistance, anything like this, on what this situation here followed, in which I really almost was murdered. I didn't miss appointment with death, maybe for a meter or something like this, a small little mistake that I would have done it and it would be it for me. Consequently, for the parts which I have paid for, were never ever delivered from the Germany, as you know, and Slovenian police have turned against me. Help assistance which I have requested from police have had instead turned into a case against me, which I have won against them at the police station. Even this on what psychiatrists were sent in my home to suggest me a hospitalization, if not leaving, to United States of America. This car basically, I don't know, practically new car, 20,000 miles, something like this, 25, I have no idea how many miles I had driven, I don't know, maybe 2 years, something like this. was then really sold for free. Then in the end, these people had right. I really didn't get anything for it. And even the parts, even the money for the parts was stolen from me. And I had to run out of the country or simply be murdered already in 2008. Hospitalized and, pronounced as insane and just locked forever inside in there. Well, obviously that contacting European Commission for Human Rights was the wrong thing for me to do. One obviously does not exist. This is how they have believed that as long as you're quiet, as long as you're at home, as long as you do nothing basically, you're okay. Once you complain about what's happening to you, what's going on, that's when you get in trouble. And, I do resent the European Commission for Human Rights that instead of taking an initiative in this matter for helping me out, and I did make myself clear to them, they somehow have translated this message to Slovenian authorities so those could basically under the table, subtly. Nobody would even know ever anything about my complaining to European Commission for Human Rights if I would get assassinated back then. Am I correct? The only one who knew would be European Commission for Human Rights and Slovenian government. So I truly do resent European Commission for Human Rights for taking such a severe action against me on behalf of Slovenian government. And because of this lesson which I got between European Union for Court for Human Rights, European Commission for Human Rights and Slovenian government, because of this lesson, everything I started to log and write down whatever went on, and I went further. That's when I started to write my biography, books, and publish the videos. You see, this is why I basically exist. Because when nobody knows about really what's going on with an individual, when you submit the complaint, actually you can even disappear without anybody knowing anything what happened.
Alright, I think I got a new clue about this stuff here.
It finally started to get to me that it's not only this stuff that was destroyed, but this thing already went on in Miami. So what I started to do at this point now, I started to check everything. One of the things I have checked was also my work area where I sit right now, where everything is beeping. But this is an old monitor, basically. It's an old thing. I bought this one, I don't know, maybe sometimes in 2000 and, who knows, 2001, 2002, maybe something like this. 650 bucks, but was destroyed immediately.
This isn't bad, but what's actually bad is here. Look at this. You see this here, 11, 12, meaning that this thing is just exploding, I would say, like totally, I would say, exploding radiation. I mean, this thing here. Which this individual also, look at this, 15, 16, look at that.
In a totally same fashion, and it's something that husband of mine, Mitja Weber, have promised me he would do. Also all other electronic equipment ended up. My computers were dysfunctional already in Miami. Spent loads of mountains of money on them. Couldn't use them for more than for internet. That's all there ever was. Well, you're gonna see in continuation, look at that, over 180 times over what is allowed, considered as safe on your laptop. Okay, that's a lot. Over 180 times. You're gonna see in continuation a load of other equipment that also was destroyed by this very same individual.